Okay, we're going to install WordPress on your server. After you've uploaded the WordPress installation files and base files up to your website through your web host, you're going to want to go to your URL, and then this site's going to show up first. And you're going to want to click on Create a Configuration File. This is the prerequisite stuff it's going to ask you before you install. So you're going to click here on Let's Go. And this is the stuff that you're going to get from your web host. This is your database information from MySQL. You're going to want to retain your database name, your username, your password, and sometimes in some instances you're going to want to keep your database host too. A list of them is right here. If you are on 1&1, DreamHost, GoDaddy, ICDsoft, Media Template Grid Server, Pair Networks, Rackspace Cloud, Yahoo, or TopHost, there's a chance that you might actually be changing the database host information. But in this example, we won't really need to. So, okay, I'm going to enter my username and my password, and my database host is staying the same. It's going to be localhost. Your table prefix is used in case that you need to install more than one WordPress in one database. Sometimes this is useful if you're creating a lot of small blogs and you don't need to have a ton of databases sitting on your web host. If you're going to create a larger blog, however, it might be better if you go ahead and do a separate database for it though. After your information is in, you're going to hit submit. And if everything runs and checks out okay with your web host, this should show up. Otherwise, it'll say error establishing database connection. So you want to run the install. This is where it actually puts all the tables in the database. Okay, and here's your blog. Here is my, and your email address. And usually you want to keep this checked if you're going to have a public blog. Install WordPress. And here's your username and password. You are all set. Okay, after you've logged into your new WordPress blog, you're going to go to the dashboard. We're just going to cover some things about the dashboard really quickly. This is an overview of your site. It's pretty much your site in one shot. As you develop your blog, you'll see different things on here that will start to change over time. A couple of things about the dashboard. Clearly this up here is a link to your actual blog if you wanted to go and take a look at it. And over here on your left is your navigation. You're going to find that, and this should be a pretty standard for a lot of people. Also, a little thing about the navigation along the side is that if you'll notice in between where each of these navigation bars break, your icon will change, your mouse icon. If you click on that, that'll actually compact your navigation on the side so you can save yourself a little bit more screen room if you have a limited screen. So you want to really try and maximize your real estate. Your stuff will come out, you just hover over it, and it'll all just come out here on the side instead. So it might save you a little bit of room. And you can click back in and it'll restore itself. Up here at the top, you'll have these things that it's commonly used things that you may want to do real quick that you don't want to necessarily have to navigate to along the menu, or if you're somewhere else you don't want to have to try and find your way back to it. New posts, new pages, you upload media in your media library such as photos and other things, and then also your comments section. So that's a quick thing. This right here, the right now, basically shows exactly what your blog is about. Show you how many categories, pages, posts, tags, and how many comments you have, including the ones that are visible, the ones that you need to moderate in case they're spam, and the ones that have been flagged as spam. Also, it shows your theme, how many widgets you're using, and what type of WordPress you're using. If for any reason that you need to update it, it'll display it here, and it'll also display it down here. You can change your theme by clicking on this button very quickly. So, recent comments, if you have a comment that you may feel that you want to comment back on, or maybe maybe it shows that maybe it might be something that's spam, you'll see some of the recent comments here with also a quick menu that pops down that you can do right there from the dashboard. If you say, well, that's actually a spam comment, I want to spam it, or I maybe even just want to delete it. Plugins, this is from WordPress itself. It's actually feeding to you directly. It's showing you kind of new plugins, popular plugins, recently updated ones. So in case it's something that you might be interested in, kind of keeps you in the loop about what's going on in the plugins. Drafts, this is something that if you keep a lot of drafts for common use, or maybe it's something you haven't completed, it'll show there. It's not really something that's used that much depending on where you are. Also, the WordPress development blog shows you what's going on in the WordPress world, such as right now, as of the recording, Beta 2 just came out for WordPress 3.0, so if some people like to see what's going on in the new versions of WordPress, it'll show you that kind of stuff here. Other WordPress news, it's just basically their feed of their different things. And your incoming links down here at the bottom. Your incoming links will basically show you how many people are linking to your blog. So basically what you want to do is just find out if you wanted a quick overview without having to do the manual searching yourself. That will do that for you. So it's a really nice thing to have. Also, another thing is that the WordPress news is configurable, and so is incoming links. If you wanted to configure exactly where the reader was for your incoming links, you can click on the configuration right here and adjust it accordingly. This is a little bit more advanced, so some people may not want to do this. So if you have a lot of items coming in and new ones coming in every day, maybe you want to see which ones are coming in, or if maybe you don't really care, you just want to show 5. If you want to display the date that they were added, you can do that too. So it's just a quick option for you to have. Same thing for the other WordPress news, you can configure it. And the best part about other WordPress news is that this is actually a feed reader. So if you have something maybe in your industry that you want to use, you can actually put anything you want in here, any feed at all. So if you wanted to feed from your favorite blog or your top digs or your stumble upon, you can put any feed in there. It just says WordPress news for now. So if you want to, that's just a quick feed reader for you to use at your disposal. It's not just WordPress news. Another handy feature about the dashboard that a lot of people don't really know about is the screen options and help sections. These are actually everywhere, and they're configurable across a multitude of pages, so they kind of change depending on what page you're on. But where it has some of the most robust options is on the dashboard. So if you click this, a drop down will come up, and you can basically show what you do or do not want to see every time you log in. Other WordPress news, the development blog, your drafts, that kind of stuff you don't really care about, so it doesn't really matter and you don't need to use it. The plugins, and you can make all that go away. Also, if you have a lot of dashboard widgets, a lot of plugins might start to display them after a while, and so it's kind of making it crowded. You can adjust how many columns your dashboard is showing, and that'll automatically update, and you can switch things around on the fly. So I want that right there, my recent comments on the right, and that can help you organize it in a different way. Let's say if you have a lot of widgets. So that's another thing that you can do with the screen options. One last thing I didn't mention was the quick press. Quick press basically allows you to, if you have a quick thought or something that you just really need to get down really fast, you can put that in the quick press area. It does not have a rich text editor like the regular posting does, so remember that. So this is usually very plain text content that you're going to be putting in the quick press area. So that pretty much does it for the dashboard, and we'll see you in the next video. Alright, right here is the post section. Basically what you do is you go over to post in the navigation and you click on add new. And basically what you want to do is, the very basics of it is you add a title and some content and you hit the publish button. That's basically the overview of posts. There's a lot more details to it. First of all, you have your rich text editor here. That means basically it works just like Microsoft Word or an open office document. So whatever you want it to do, it will do for you. Such as if you want to hit bold, you don't have to know the HTML behind it, you just click the bold button and there you go. And the same thing applies if you want to do italics or strike through, it'll do it all for you. If you prefer to work in HTML, there's a tab over here that you can use to work in HTML. But if you want to just stick with a visual editor, you can just stick right there. And it has all the standard options, bulleted text, lists, block quotes, the left and right adjustment, and ability to add links, and also spell checking. Spell checking is kind of slow in WordPress. You might just want to stick with the spell checker that your browser provides, and just about all of them provide one. So another good thing about WordPress is the read more, and this is called insert more tag. And what that basically does is it allows you to cut off how much content you're providing on your home page. So if you only want to show a little snippet of your blog post, and have people be able to go to another page to read the full thing, it kind of keeps your front page compact and clean and sleek. That way you're not showing massive blog posts for all this content loading that people have to wait for. This allows things to go very fast and very smooth, and just have your people scan over it to see what they want. Another valuable tool that a lot of people don't really use is the full screen mode. You click on this and this will put everything into your full screen. So if you have a tendency to write long blog posts, or you have a tendency to edit things in a very stylistic way and you want to see what it all looks like, you can use this full screen option. So don't forget that that's there. It's a very useful thing. And there's also a thing called the kitchen sink. It's a very quirky little thing about WordPress. It's all the advanced options inside of WordPress. You click on it, it'll give you the more advanced options. They're not as commonly used. It has an undo and a redo, and also this help section here. But there's a lot of things that you have in there that you're not going to use as often, such as your headings and stuff like that. But just know that it's there in case you want to use it. So that's the kitchen sink. On your right hand side, you have your publishing options. You can save it as a draft, preview it before it's published, and then you have these three items down here. This is the status of your actual blog post. If you click edit on that, right now it's a draft because I haven't published it, but if it was published, it would say published. But you also have a couple different options. If you have a multiple author blog running, or if someone else has to review it, you can put a pending review on there. And that will allow people to basically say, hey, this is ready to be reviewed and published. I just need you to take a look at it first. So that's a really good option if you're a multiple author blog owner. This is your visibility, is the next one. Right now the visibility is public, so that means that the moment that you hit publish, it'll start going on your home page immediately. There's a couple different options you have though. First of all, under public, there's a little option that says stick this post to the front page. That's basically a sticky, such as in a forum sticky. Basically, it doesn't matter what else comes before or after it. This will always be in the top first post of your front page. So if you have something that's important that you want to announce to your blog, you basically want to put that as a sticky post, and that's how you do that. The next one is password protected. Basically, it'll still show up to everybody as a post that you can view, but in order to view it, after they've clicked on it, they're going to have to enter a password to see all the content. So this allows you to keep maybe protected content under password, such as downloads and videos and premium content. You just put it under a password, and you can distribute that password to certain people for them to view. So it's a good feature to use, but remember that the password you have to give out. So the next one is kind of like password protected, except for no one's going to be able to really view, not too many people are going to be able to view this except for certain users. Non-registered guests will not even be able to see that this is even a post if it's set to private. A private post is exactly that. It's for not many people. So if you set something to private and send somebody to it and they're not a registered member of your site, they're not going to see it. It'll actually show up as a 404 error. So something to keep in mind. A lot of times you're just not going to use private posts. A lot of times you use either password protected or public posts. So. Alright, and then the next one is when you decide to publish something. That's why it says right now publish immediately. So if I click on this publish, it'll automatically go to my front page in my blog roll on my home page. So, but if you click edit, you can adjust the date whenever you're going to post your blog. A lot of people, when they first have a blog, they want to show that they have some content, so they'll maybe put it in the past, such as, maybe put it a couple months ago and make it look like an older post. But also another great feature about this is that you can actually schedule your posts. So maybe you want to do all of your blogging in one time frame, and you just set to have it drip feed its content over the course of maybe a couple days. So let's say you have 10 articles and you want to publish them once a day. Well, you don't have to go back every single day and publish it. You can publish all your articles at once and just schedule them to post on a different day. So basically this one I want to maybe schedule for the 9th, so I want this to go tomorrow. So I click OK, and it actually says schedule for, and this changes the schedule. So it's a really handy feature if you want to keep yourself organized and kind of maximize your time instead of always having to come back and do the same tasks every day. So Down here, next option is the post tags. Basically, there's a little keywords that you want to put in there to kind of let people know what your individual post is about. If it's about the iPhone, you want to put iPhone in there. If it's about money, you want to put money in there. And it's also, the more of the same tag you use, the more prominent it'll be on your site. Therefore, if you want to use maybe a keyword or a tag cloud, the more times you use the word money in there, it's gonna show up as a bigger word in your tag cloud. Categories is just a way to keep your posts structured so that in case people are looking for a category that you had designated, like I said, once again, if you were talking about iPhones, maybe if you were talking about an iPhone app, you would have an apps category. And that way people that maybe you always want to read your blog, but really want to read more about, let's say, the iPhone apps, they're going to go to the apps category. Down here is a couple of optional things. These are not required when you are posting, but it's something that maybe some themes use or maybe some plugins use. So just kind of keep it in mind whenever you're using that. So an excerpt is basically a summary of what your post is about, kind of like the stuff that's above your read more link. Some themes use it, some themes don't. Try it out with your theme and find out, so you're not writing excerpts for no reason. Trackbacks, don't worry about that too much. It's not something that's really used that much. Custom fields, what you want to do is that's something that's also can be used by themes and plugins, but if it's not used, then don't even worry about it. So basically you can say, videos I'm watching, happy feed. And that basically, it'll show up in your theme. It can tell you your mood sometimes and stuff like that through a custom field. And also down here at the bottom is discussion. This is the different things that will allow collaboration across your blog. Comments, basically, if you want people to be able to comment on the blog post, you just allow the comments. Allow trackbacks and pingbacks. Basically what that is that whenever somebody links to you, it'll notify the other blogs whenever you're, posting an update or something along those lines. And blogs will also let you know when they're linking to you. But if you don't want to allow that kind of stuff for different privacy reasons and stuff like that, you can just simply uncheck them. And that about does it for posts. Basically, there's a couple more advanced options that we'll cover later on in other videos, but this pretty much does it for adding a post. All right, the next section is editing posts. This is basically your overview where you're going to maintain and utilize your posts in the most quickest and most efficient way possible. To go to edit posts, you just go to posts and click on the edit tab right under it. It's going to give you an overview of every post that you have, whether it be a draft or a published one, or even a scheduled one, or even ones that you may have trashed. First thing that you want to look at on here is the screen options, just like I said on the dashboard. Maybe if there's something that you don't really want to take a look at because you don't really notice too much about it, maybe you don't allow comments on your blog, or maybe you just don't ever add tags. You don't really necessarily always need to see them, so you can just get rid of them. Or maybe if you don't want as many to show up, or maybe you want more to show up, you can do that right here on the screen options. So always remember to make sure to look at those screen options whenever you're on a page. On the right hand side, you have the ability to search for posts. If you have hundreds and thousands of posts, which you will over time if you post regularly as your blog builds up, you're going to want to be able to search through them, because to go through them page by page is going to get very redundant after a while. Also, if you have very common titles and you have very unspecific post titles, sometimes you want to also include an excerpt with each of your posts. Basically gives you an overview of kind of what your post is about right there, but you can show and hide that if you want to. Okay, under each post, if it's a draft, it'll show up right there, and if it's public, it'll just show up as the title. But under here you have a couple of different options available. Obviously the edit one basically takes you to the post screen that we had earlier, and it'll give you all the options available. Another one is quick edit. Now if you open this up, it'll show you a bunch of different things available. Basically all the supplemental stuff that you wanted to do, with the exception of the actual content itself, you could pretty much do with a quick edit. So if you wanted to make it a private or a password protected post, you could do that right there. If you wanted to schedule it for a different time, you want to change a category and add a tag, or stop allowing comments, or make it a sticky, you can do that all right from this screen right here, and it'll update as soon as you click the update button. So basically everything but the content itself can be edited through quick edit. Okay, another obvious feature right here is the trash. This used to be a delete feature, but people like the option of being able to restore something later. So if you click the trash, you're gonna send that to the trash section, and it'll show you right here, move to the trash. You can undo that if you want. But then this link shows up if you have something in your trash area. So you click that, and there's your post. And this is the area where basically what you want to do is you either want to empty your trash through this button right here, or if you want to maybe restore your post, you say, well, I didn't mean to delete that one. Or you can say, yes, this one I just want to get rid of. And that will actually delete it permanently, and you can never get it back. So if you're choosing to empty the trash, make sure you're emptying what you want gone forever. But if you want to restore something, let's say if that you have accidentally deleted, you can just click the restore link, and it'll go back to the regular section. So there's nothing in the trash anymore. Go back to all, and now it's back to where it used to be. Preview is obviously pretty self-explanatory. It's the preview that it'll actually show it on the front end of your blog. So a couple of different things up here. If you have multiple things that you maybe want to move through the trash at the same time, you can check them with a checkbox and move them all at once. Just hit the apply button. Also, if you have a bunch of posts and you don't want to necessarily know what to search for and the excerpts aren't working, you can view things by dates or categories, and you can filter it and narrow it down a little bit more there. That pretty much does it for the edit post section, and we're going to move on to the next video. Alright, and we're about to wrap up posts here. I just want to talk about two quick things that are on here that you're not going to really visit that much, but you may visit once or twice every now and again. And I just wanted to go ahead and go over them real quick. The first one is tags, and the second one will be categories. We'll go over that in a second. The tags are basically those one-word keywords that you're going to associate with each of your posts. If you wanted to go ahead and if you wanted to just add them right here or be able to edit them here, you're going to go to this tag section. Some themes, but not many, once again, are going to utilize a description of a tag. So maybe if you wanted to use that, you can, but it's not really something that's very big that you needed to do. The categories section is something that you might want to visit. The categories basically is pretty self-explanatory. You have a category name and sometimes a description, but once again, check with your theme on that. But the major thing about a category is you can have this thing called a category parent. Basically, you can set up subcategories within your site for your posts. So let's say if we're using the example of Apple again, well, you can have maybe, let's say, an Apple category, but then you can have subcategories of each of its products, such as the iPhone, the iPad, the Mac Mini, the Mac Pro, so on and so forth. And then within each of those, let's say that you have your iPhone, you can have maybe the App Store, or maybe iPhone Generation 1, or new features, or gossip, or latest news, rumors. So you can kind of nest them upon each other and have a much more structured setup of your blog. So that pretty much does it for categories. One other thing that's a really useful option inside of categories is if you go to your category section and you can see the different options that are available, you can also see how many posts are in your category. So if you have something that's got a whole lot of posts in it, and then maybe a category that maybe only has one or two, maybe you should take out that category and put it somewhere else. It's obviously not really doing what you want it to do. So this is kind of a nice little overview of exactly where the most of your blog content is basically being directed. So that pretty much does it for posts, and next we are going to move on to links. Okay, now we're going to talk about links. Your links or links section inside of your WordPress blog is basically a link that moves or goes to anything outside of your site. So it's not anything that's going inside of, from one page to another. It's actually going to another website altogether. A lot of people will put resources they commonly use, blogs, or other sites they commonly enjoy into their links section. This is also called your blog role. So basically, whenever you want to add a new link, you basically click on the Add New button. After you've clicked on the navigation right here under Links and click Edit, you can click Add New, or you can go to Add New right here. You click Add New, and basically it'll give you all the options for adding your link. Your name is basically the text they're actually going to be clicking on when they're adding the link. So let's just say your name is My New Link. And the web address is the actual place they're going to be going to. So that would be, in this case, let's say Google. The description is basically what's going to show up when the person puts their mouse button or hovers it over your link but doesn't click on it yet. It's also good for SEO purposes. So sometimes that's something that you may want to put in there. So description, maybe Google. will be another good one. Add the category of where your link is going to be placed, and we're going to just put it in the blog roll for now. And there's a couple of optional things down here, but you don't have to worry about a lot of these. Some people will worry about target. A lot of people will put it so that their link will just show up in a new window. So they don't actually leave their blog, it just goes somewhere else temporarily and then come back to it easily. You want to do blank for that, or basically it's a new window. So a couple other different things down here. You don't really need to worry about it. It's link relationships and advanced options. 90% of the time, you're never going to use that. So also there's an option to keep it private. Once again, not something you're going to use too much. So just hit add link and you are done. It'll show up right here under link added, and then you can basically go back to your link section and my new link will show up right there. And that pretty much does it for the link section. We're going to go over one more thing real quickly, and that's link categories. Link categories is basically the same as categories. You're just basically being able to put them in your links in there instead of your posts in there. So that pretty much covers link categories. You kind of know how it works if you looked at the categories section. All right, that pretty much does it for links. All right, let's talk about pages. Pages are pretty much the exact same thing as posts, except for they're a little bit more static and they're a little bit more consistent and constant on your site, and they're not so much something that you maybe want to put in your blog roll, but it's something that you want to make sure that every visitor has ready and available access to. Things such as your About Us, your terms and conditions, your privacy policy, your Contact Us page, all of those things would be pages instead of posts, and they're a lot easier to access, and they're a lot more static, and they don't really change much. So diving into pages here, basically on the navigation bar under pages, you want to click add new, or if you're in the edit pages section, you can click the add new button right next to its title. So click add new, and you're going to come up upon a pretty familiar page. It almost looks exactly like the add new post page, and that's because it is almost exactly like it. It's pretty self-explanatory. Just like posts, you add your title and then you add your content as necessary, and then all these options are exactly the same, and things below it are almost exactly the same as well. A couple of different things about a page is the attributes right down here under the publish section. First of all, one of the good things about pages is that you have the ability to create subpages within pages, almost like a hierarchy or a tree of paging sections. So, a good example right here is actually the one that's right below it. Basically, if you have an About Us page, you can also put individual members of your company or something like that, or maybe your life story or how your company got there, or something about your site that maybe not just be covered in a single About Us page. So it's good to have those sub pages in there as well. Another thing that you want to look at is the template. Not all pages are created equal. Sometimes you have archive pages, sometimes you have link pages, and sometimes you have contact us pages. And theme developers recognize that, and depending on the theme that you get, sometimes you'll have a different template that you can apply to your page. The one that comes with WordPress by default, and that's the one we have installed right now, has an archives and a links template that you can apply to the page that you have. So keep that in mind if you're creating a page that maybe not just a page full of content, or maybe something that you just wanted to show as something else. And the last thing that you have an ability to do is your order. By default, they're usually ordered alphabetically, but if you want to, you can change the order of something if you don't want it to be alphabetical. So let's say if you wanted to have something be more prominent, or one of the earlier links, or maybe if you want it at the end, you can change the order of all your pages, and you can do that right there. And that pretty much covers pages. Like I said, it's a lot like posts, and you're going to grasp this pretty quickly. So those are the only really main differences about a page. So. All right, now we'll move on to the next section. All right, this is your comment section. Basically, this section is more for moderation than it is anything else. You can do a wide variety of things on here, but for the most part, it's just for general house cleaning and keeping up with the comments on your site. You're going to have a couple of different options inside of here. First of all, you're going to be able to see what kind of approved comments that you have that are actually public and displayed on your blog. Another thing you're going to have is, as your blog gains reputation and gets out there on your search engines, you're going to start to get spammed comments. You can cut down on that with a variety of plugins and things like that, but there's still going to be ones that are going to be in there. You're just going to get spam. That's just the way it is. So you basically, what you want to do is you want to look in there every now and again, and you want to basically clean it out. It keeps your blog nice and clean and nice and running very smoothly if you make sure that your trash is emptied and that your spam is kept to a minimum. So also, you're going to have some sometimes valid comments that are sometimes just sent to the spam folder, either because they included a couple of link resources in there, or maybe put in a couple of bad keywords that made it flagged as spam. So you do want to search through your spam and search through your pending comments and approve them, or deny them as necessary. But basically, this comment section is just to kind of keep up on what people are discussing about inside of your blog, and basically keep out all the bad comments to make sure that your viewers aren't turned off and your readers aren't turned off to any bad comments that are on your site. And there's some more advanced options in the settings that we'll cover later, but that pretty much does it for comments for right now. Okay, now we're going to cover themes. This is a very big and very important section of WordPress because everybody wants a custom look and feel of their blog. It is a signature, a personification of who they are as a person. And the way that you do that is you do that with a custom theme. There are a wide variety of themes available in WordPress. We'll go over on how to add those in a minute. But this right here is the basic overview of how to manage your themes. If you click under the Appearance tab in your navigation, and you go to Themes, this is where you're going to find your Themes section. You're going to be able to view your current theme that you have activated, which is showing up on your actual blog right here. And you're also going to be able to see the other available themes that you have inside of your actual themes folder on your site. If you wanted to be able to take a look at different themes and without actually having to change your front end, you can click the preview link and it'll actually pull up an actual view of what the theme is going to look like. And you over here, if you want to, if you say I do like that, you can click it and click activate, or you can click the X and get out of there. So if you want to delete the theme off there, that's not the default one, you can click delete, but this is not a trash situation where you can just restore it if you want to by clicking a link. Once you delete it off here, the files are gone off your server, so make sure you either have a backup or it's definitely something that you want to delete. If you want to change it right here, you can click activate. A lot of different people will either use a Christmas theme or a different holiday-based theme to kind of switch it up as time goes on, or maybe they're trying on a couple different themes, so they activate different ones at different times. That is basically how you're going to be able to manage your themes within here. This is a very rough overview, and we're going to go into some of the more details in a little bit. And so the next section is how to add a new theme. Okay, now that we've talked about how to manage your themes, let's talk about how to get a new theme or add a new theme. So if you want to add a new theme, basically you go under the Appearance tab and go to Add New Themes, or if you're under the Manage Themes section, you can click the Add New button right to the right of the title. This will bring up a small section where basically WordPress now allows you to search for the many themes available right from your own blog instead of having to go to WordPress itself. So if you wanted to search for a particular theme, you can just do a search for maybe certain colors or certain width or different features or different things like that. You can do that from right within your blog, and it'll actually pull the theme right to your blog for quick and easy installation and activation. So let's say that if you're looking for maybe a Halloween theme, you can either type in Halloween, or maybe you just want to use the colors black and orange. You can click on that, click Find Themes, and then you're going to get a section of themes that are all available for you to try and find. Here is Happy Halloween right there, and maybe another one right here that's Inferno. And you can look through and search through the themes that maybe match what you're trying to find. So another option that you have is sometimes that you're going to purchase a premium theme and you're going to want to be able to install that. Well, WordPress also covered that with the ability to upload a theme. So you click on the upload right here, and it's going to actually be able to let you upload a theme that's already in a zip file that you got when you purchased your theme, or you got it from somewhere that wasn't on WordPress. All you do is click Browse and find your theme on your hard drive, and then after you've found it, you're going to click Install Now, and it's gonna automatically install the thing for you. It's gonna upload it to your server, unzip the file, and put the files in their appropriate location automatically for you. No need to worry about FTP or anything along those lines. A word of warning though, sometimes some themes tend to be a little bit large. If you have something that's timing out or it's basically throwing an error message because it's not doing it right, you're probably running into a theme that's a little bit too large for your server to upload through your browser. If that's the case, you want to either hire somebody to FTP it for you, or if it's something that you know how to do, you can FTP it yourself. After you've installed it, after you've uploaded it, all you have to do is activate it and your theme's all set to go. And that's basically how you install a new theme on your blog.